1, 2, 3, roll a dice. Ah.
Well, hello everybody. Happy post-Christmas and pre-New Year. I did actually record a lot of this stuff on Christmas Eve, but I completely messed up and I've had to redo all the audio. So we squished a bunch of videos together to show off the Maggotkin because they were announced for pre-order yesterday and they got for pre-order on Saturday, and then they'll be out 2 weeks after that. So I thought, well, I got myself some Christmas presents. So Festus Leechlord, there you go, in the box. Also the Sloven Knights, is that what they're called? And some Rotswords. So I thought, well, let's get it out. We'll take a look. I build them up, paint them up. It's a 23-minute video. Skip to the end if you want to see Festus in all his slimy glory. No, don't do that. No, watch it. Watch everything. Watch it all, because then I get more watch hours. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. When we hit 500, we go to subscriber giveaway. So yeah, enough of that. Anyway, here's Festus on the sprue. It's a good sprue. I thought it was like going to be super quick, super easy. It was fine. Like, he went together all right. I had no real major issues. Festus himself went together great. He looks awesome. He looks like a little tiny grit and clean one. Sat on his slug, yeah, it's a good kit. I was a bit worried. I thought he'd be a bit busy, but once I started painting and just like took it in parts, I think it was nice. I really, really like the Festus model though. Like, he just looks like a little grey and clean one. I'm going to keep saying that, but he does. But yeah, good kit. No major issues. Everything was really clean. Hardly any mold lines. Yeah, really, really like him. As I say, I will build him. I will speed up the build process as well to sickening proportions, because else this would be like a 2-hour video of me building and no one wants to see that. Didn't have any real issues except for the little tiny plate bits, and that was probably more because I was doing it Christmas Eve. But here you go, super speed, just because I cut it down to like a minute. Nobody wants to see half an hour of me sticking a slug together. I kind of wish all of the cavalry were on slugs, but the horses are all right. They're cool. They're fine enough. But slug cav would have been sweet. Yeah, I don't want to say that I would paint him in sub-assemblies if I could go back and do it, because you see that there are, I mean, you could easily do it. He is a separate piece. The hodl thingy, the harnessy mount thing, the seat, is a separate piece. So you could technically glue the slug together, glue the chair together, and then glue Festus together and paint them separately, or paint them as you go. But I didn't, because I can't be asked with that. If you can't see it properly, then there's no reason to need to paint it too much. Yeah, didn't see the need for that. So yeah, this is the super speedy quick build. And then I said, what will happen is I'll build him up, and then I dug the airbrush out. Annoyingly, my compressor is cracked, so it's hissing and not holding as much pressure as I'd like, but it did the job quickly. Admittedly, I do spray him in a darkish brown and then a lighter brown and then powdered witch flesh or something like that, but probably unnecessary. I just wanted to make sure that all the bits that you couldn't really see very well were darkened out. But yeah, he's cool. I liked sticking so there's some tiny nurglings. Well, they're two. There's a head that's popping out of his tail. And there we go. That's him in his darkest. I did him in a dark brown. Well, it's black with brown mixed in. I don't know, something like that. I was just messing about, and then I thought, well, I need to make this lighter, so we'll notch it up a little bit. Added some more. I think I added powdered witch flesh into the mix. And there you go. So we brightened him up a tad. It wasn't bright enough though, so definitely needed him to be a lot brighter than this. But you get where we're going. To be honest, I was just adding powdered witch flesh in until we got it bright enough. Then we go to the extreme. So yeah, brightened him up, and then I thought, right, that'll do. We can start applying contrast paints and whatever. Just base him out in colours, just to see what sort of how I want him to look. I had no real plan. It was just going to be slapping paint on, basically. You'll see him though at the end of the video, near the end of the video. But yeah, I think he looks great. It's such a cool model. He looks so much better once you've like sprayed out, got the shadows and stuff in there. It looks nice. But yeah, so another super speedy video. It was just Plague Bearer Flesh. We're just slapping it on. I end up mixing in some like more pinky colors into the thing and just essentially wet blending it. To be honest, I faff around with this so much that I end up the color changes. It just keeps changing. I'm just adding in so many different like tones and things like that in there that it just it took a while, and then I just went back. You know what? I quite like that. It's done. So yeah, it was just contrast paints. We're just going through the whole thing, just blatting through it, basing things out so I could kind of see where I wanted or how I wanted things to look. And once that was done, then I actually got around to actually painting him. So you'll see what he looks like in the end. Unfortunately, I ended up not recording the rest of it because it was the next day and I completely forgot to hit record. But you'll see. Anyway, Sloven Knights. So these guys, I'm quite excited for Nurgle to have some mounted cavalry. Like I say, I wanted them to be on slugs, but whatever. But yeah, they look pretty cool. One thing I did notice, to be honest, once I opened it up, was that is your build options. There is no other build options, which is fine. I'm not going to run lots of them. I'm only going to run 3, just because I'm going roll a cooler. But as opposed to if they are meta in any way, I don't care. I don't want multiple models of the same pose. The only option you've got there is to change the heads. So I was just like, I don't need 6 or 9 of these things. I don't play competitively. I just want them for. I will put them in if they're cool. They look cool. Rules wise, they look pretty cool. I'll put them in to my games, and I'll just be running them for fun. So they are nice. They go together actually really easily. I did video building them, and I decided that nobody wants to see that, so I didn't bother putting that in there. But I do go through, have a quick look at the sprues. As I say, it was all just like, oh, cool, okay, slap them together, and we'll see what they look like. So yeah, they were nice. We'll see them fully built in a bit. So I mean, here's the instructions just to show you that I didn't get anything wrong. There is literally just the heads. You see the 2 head options up there, and everything else is just build it this way. I reckon you could probably mess about. I don't think you'll be able to switch the arms across because they are very much like they have to be in like the set positions. But it won't take much to do it. I wouldn't have thought. It's Nurgle after all, so easily able to kit bash and mess about. Get me tentacle roller out if I have to, and we'll add some stuff to it. But yeah, pretty cool. I say Rotswords. Oh look, see that Festus there? Look, this is because this was filmed about 3 days later. Rotswords. These are actually pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Obviously they're smaller than the usual Blight Kings. They're on 32mm bases. They have not so they don't have they're the same as the Sloven Knights. There's not really options in the sense of their actual pose, but they do have options in the sense that the one-handed weapons that they've got in their right arms, they are use what you want. The shields, there's different shields, so you can put different shield designs on. But also, I've noticed that the shield option can be another one-hander, so you can dual wield. So it doesn't make any difference on their profile. If you don't give them shields, they still have shields. Obviously, it doesn't make any difference because it's AOS. So yeah, you can make them look different. So you could give them all dual. If you had 2 boxes, you could make them with sword and shields, and then you could make them with dual wield. The heads, I think there was 12 heads in there. So you're just going to be switching heads around, I guess, if you want to make them look different. But I reckon you could easily they will look different. The dual wielding option does look different. So there you go, Festus. He has been painted, but here's the Sloven Knights first. As I said, they are going to be needing to be kit bashed if you want them to look different. You're going to need to be, I don't know, pulling off weapons and adding your own gumph to them, I think, if you want them to be visually different from each other. I think if you've got the Rotswords, then technically, and you dual wield, then you're going to end up with a bunch of shields. So you can probably mess up with some shields, get yourself a tentacle roller, and whatever little bits and gubbins you can get, you should be able to probably kit bash them to look different. But out of the box, you're not going to really find it easy, I don't think, to make them visually different if you end up with like multiple boxes of them. I'm not a big fan of the guy with the hammer. Like I honestly had to look at the instructions about 5 times to make sure that that's where the hammer was. Looking at the picture, and I was like, he's got it kind of over his shoulder. Okay, but yeah, that was a bit of a faff. I was messing about with that for quite a bit. And I think the champ with the mace that's held back, he's the guy with the bigger horn. I'm pretty sure he has like a weird little slip underneath his arm that needs to go in. It's a bit weird, but anyway. So just back to these guys real quickly, because I didn't. Also, it took me a little while to realise, but there's the musician. Someone was saying there wasn't a musician. There is. He's got like a bell bandolier. See that? Yeah, really cool. So yeah, musician is wearing his bells. I thought that's really, really cool. Sorry to get sidetracked and go back to the Rotswords, but yeah. Oh, that was a sweet addition. Very, very different. Anyway, right, here you go. Look, here's Festus. So as I say, I did accidentally not film a chunk of him. He's not completely done because I keep going back to him because he's a very busy model. But there he is in his slimy glory. Camera struggles because yeah, because the worm is not as bright as that. It kind of is, but yeah, it really does struggle because it's a very busy model and it's trying to focus on everything. But yeah, we still got some rusty bits that need doing. I don't know. We're gonna mess with the metals. I've got some verdigris to add. The slime did crack a bit because it was I can't think what I used. Nurgle's rot and then some AK puddles on top. If you put it on too thick and it's bloody cold here as well, it has a tendency of cracking, which is cool if you want to make ice base, but I don't want to make an ice base. So, but yeah, look at him. He's so fun. Just give me slug knights. Why? Why didn't I not have slug knights? Tiny little Nurgling. There's 2 Nurglings. There's one little head that's popping out. And there's one that's like peeling skin from the back as well. Not enough Nurglings in my opinion, but whatever. The leech thing, I don't know if you can have him without the leech tentacle thing. Because it's like sucking onto his belly, but then I assume it's also sucking the corpse. So I'm guessing it's like sucking things out and spooging it into him. I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of that when I put it on. And then when I started painting it, I was like, oh, actually, this is actually really cool. Still got some work to do on his backpack area. It's just some bits and pieces I'm not massively happy with there. And yeah, there's a little Nurgling head poking out of the tail, so the camera will not focus on that. But there is a little Nurgling poking out of his tail. There's another one on the backside to say he's like popping out the tail and he's like ripping flesh. But again, no way my camera's focusing on that. It might tiny bit, little Nurgling there. But yeah, he's an awesome model. I was going to paint that like yellow pastel there as an eyeball, which I might still do. As I say, still got work to do on him, and I will be coming back. I've gone for a pinky tone on Festus's flesh as opposed to the greeny sort of tone. I think there's enough greeniness in this. I didn't really want him going in that green sort of section, but yeah, as you see the crack there, you can see that crack in the slime just in there. But yeah, awesome model. Can't wait to get him actually finished. I will probably pop him to the side and then do the Sloven Knights maybe. And once we've got everything almost done, we'll go back through and pick them out. I mean, I've got the Battle Tomb, but I don't necessarily need the no rush because I haven't got points. So not like I'm going to be playing with them anytime soon. We've got about 3. Well, we got pretty much 3 weeks now. But here's the spruce to the Rotswords. So in case if any of you like to look at spruce, I know some of you do. They look nice. To be fair, they do look nice. I'm not going to look through them properly. But let's have a look at the build instructions. So there you go. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 heads, a bunch of shields, a bunch of weapons. So those are all interchangeable parts. I should have probably looked and seen, but I think the alternate where you don't use the shield, I don't think that's part of the interchangeable parts. So the you can see. So I mean, that's the champ, and then the non-champ version. But the yeah, there's the standard bearer. So the non-standard bearer pose looks so good. Look at him, we're holding his axe down. It's just awesome. Obviously, I'm going to build him as a standard bearer. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, really cool. But yeah, so every option. So obviously, there's a musician. That's the standard bearer, and they can be built as non-musician and non-standard bearer. But every one of the options in there actually does have. You can see it in the just on the right hand middle section where they've got dual wield, so they can dual wield weapons or they can have the shield. So that's what I was saying about like how you definitely can make them look a lot more different by giving them dual wielding, and if you make another give them sword and shield. So I thought that was pretty cool. Change their heads, change their weapons, and that should mix them up enough, I think, for a bit of variety. But I'm going to assume that running 20 will be quite cool. But until we see points, I don't know. But yeah, so I thought, have a quick look. I haven't built them, so I'm a bad person. But so they are smaller though. So I did think to myself, I haven't, because I'm not getting the pesticles, and I'm not getting the because I've got the pesticles in Dark Water, so I don't need another 10 of them just yet. And I'm not getting the Blight Kings because the Blight Kings are the same base size as the existing Blight Kings, and I'm not a big fan of the new Blight Kings, only in the sense that they don't have all the armor, which I like. Plus, I painted 15 Blight Kings, and I don't really want to paint more of them. So yeah, just because my audio is not matching up to the video, I was just checking to see if there was a different option if you dual wielded or if you had sword and shield. There isn't, so it's the same profile. I got sidetracked then talking about Blight Kings, but what does happen is now that I run off because I've mentioned Blight Kings, and it's made me think about whether or not they are the same size, and they seem to be. So for those of you that are wondering, because I know some people were saying like, the Blight Kings, I saw some rumors that Blight Kings were priests and they were in 3-man teams, which isn't the case. They're 5 in a box. There's 5 Blight Kings in the box. In fact, I'm gonna run off. I run off now. I run across the shop to go get the box that's hidden in the new release shelves. So that's them, and then I run off and I grab an existing Blight King because they are the same size. So I know these guys are like holding their arms up and have 2-handed weapons, whatever. But the old Blight Kings are on the same size base, and they scale by the look of it, because on the back of the box it's 1-for-1. So picture wise, I'm not opening this box because I don't want another 5 Blight Kings. But yeah, as you can see here, so apologies, I'll move these out of the way because I can't function there. So that's one of the unit champs from the existing Blight Kings. They're the same size base, and as long as the 1-for-1 scale picture is right, they're the same. So yeah, I'm just going to use my existing Blight Kings. I don't need the new ones. Yeah, I know they've got 2-handed weapons, but whatever. Who cares? In fact, the standard bearer doesn't. There's no musician there though, is there? So from what I could tell, I didn't see a musician. I did see the standard on the unit roster. So yeah, they're the same size. So just going to use my existing ones. I'd say the new ones, that middle guy holding his arms out with no chest plate, no, doesn't do it for me. I like them armored. Their saves worse in game. They've got a 5 up and then a 6 up. Feel no pain. I'm going to assume that's feel no pain. No, it's a ward. Yeah, that's the word, isn't it? Ward. I'm going to guess that's because they've taken their armor off. That's my assumption. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've read through the Battle Tomb. I'm not going to spoil it on here. Without points, I can't really decide on what I want to do. I do know that I need another Narmal, and I actually need to paint my current Narmal. But yeah, I do need another Narmal. I think you can bring them back, and I can't remember. I think they can move. So yeah, Blight Kings have got anti-wizard anti-priest rend, +1 rend, I think it was. Yeah. And then I think it's like they've got an ability that they can make casting and priest incantations worse to a priest or a wizard within 12 on a roll of some description. Again, I'm not really into reading the rules at the moment. I need points and I need to know what I want to run. I do like the idea of going like with flies and horses and Lord of Affliction and a Harbinger and a Slug and running mortals. That could be quite cool to have a cavalry mortals list. But we'll see. Anyway, this has been a pretty long video. And I'm sure it's not been massively helpful to everybody, but hopefully some people have found it helpful. So like it, subscribe, please. Get us up to 500 so that we can then start whinging and asking for us to go on to 1,000. But yeah, by the way, I was pointing at them because I realised that I in the original video I couldn't remember what they were called, and I just suddenly remembered they were called Sloven Knights. But yeah, anyway, here's my Festus on his slimy slugly. Yeah, I hope you all have a great new year, and we'll see you on the other side. And 2026, I'll put a video out and show all the things I painted in 2025. That might be a long one though. Who knows? Anyway, again, like, subscribe, do the things, and have a good one. Bye.